What's up, and welcome to the Los Wise Guys podcast. I'm your host, Eslam, aka Rock God of the Sun, accompanied by Dan, Papa Sun Killer. And as you can see, we are missing our third Emperor Disco. He had some family stuff to take care of, so he's out there taking care of it.
As did we a week ago.
Yeah, so
It's
it
a lot
happens.
going on.
It comes with the age range, yo. We getting old. We got to
Uh,
start taking care of family and shit. So
TCB.
yeah, I
I
don't
know
know
what it
what that
means to
means.
me. Taking care
Uh,
of business.
Oh, okay. I
R E
was
S
like,
P E C T.
uh,
Take care of
well, I
TCB.
know that,
Like a
but I
do
didn't
it,
know
like a
what.
do it, like a do it, like a do it, like a.
Oh, TCP is part of it.
Yeah, that's in there.
Oh, the only part I know is RESPECT. If I
Mm-hmm.
know what it means to me, that's it.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
RESPECT. Take care of TCB.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Learn
Well,
something new every day
Aretha
on this
Franklin.
podcast.
Aretha Franklin, ladies and gentlemen. Want
Yeah,
to learn a new fact about a song that came out in the 1970s? We
yeah,
got you.
yeah.
We're gonna take
Exactly.
care of that.
Yeah, go check out the last episode where you learned about aliens.
Yeah.
They're real.
Aretha Franklin and aliens, ladies and gentlemen. We do it all. We do it
From
all.
Aretha to aliens,
Yep.
from A to A.
There you go. We went around on the alphabet, came back. RESPCT. You know what I'm saying? Respect those aliens. Give them all the respect they deserve. They're real.
Yeah.
They're out there TCBing. What were we gonna talk about today, Eslam?
They
What are we
were
doing?
taking care of business. That's for
Exactly.
sure. What
Oh
we
man.
doing today? Who the fuck knows at this point? We just bouncing off everywhere. Speaking of bouncing off everywhere,
I can't
and
wait for
outer
this segue.
space and aliens,
Yeah.
our first topic for today is Xbox Starfield's expectations.
Let's go.
That shouldn't be
There should be
Starfields.
Starfields, but it's fine. We're gonna let it slide.
No, I'm gonna
Xbox is
fix it.
Starfield expectations.
Yeah, there we
You're
go.
excited. You're talking about more than one field out there.
There we
That's
go.
fine.
It's
There it
fixed.
is.
There we go. Magic, people. That's technological magic. Boom, boom.
Yep.
Aliens ain't got shit on us.
TCB.
That's right.
That's the
Um,
theme of this episode.
TCB. But yes, Starfield expectation. Now, this was Xbox big game for this year. Biggest game of this year. Their first big game failed horribly, and I feel
Okay. Yeah. Yes, I forgot which one it was.
the vampire one,
Redfall.
Redfall. So that was supposed to be one of their big releases as well. Xbox is trying to release 4 big games a year, according to Phil Spencer. Um, they released High Rush.
Hi-Fi Rush. I was about to say Hi-Fi Rush did do good. That was kind of a
That
sleeper
was in
hit.
like the
Nobody expected.
'90s. Yeah, that was good. And what? Sorry,
That game came out earlier this year.
I'm sorry. '90s as in points on Open Critic.
Oh, okay,
That's
okay.
how. Yeah. You're like
I was like, Xbox
really
wasn't
has
invented,
dementia,
that
bro.
it didn't exist back then.
He's like, my man said it came out in the
Man,
'90s.
yeah, he said this shit came out in the '90s. Like,
He's
nah.
like, how did he know he wasn't even born yet? But no, I mean, like, it hit in the '90s on Open Critic. And the reason why I bring Open Critic is that's how we score games with especially with our league as well. So that's kind of what our baseline.
LWGFCGLS3.
Yes, sir. So that did well. That was a shadow drop. Then you had like Redfall, which did horribly. And then now they released Starfield. Now, before Starfield came out, people were worried since Redfall's launch was very shaky and not good. But
A couple other reasons too, though.
you want to walk through those reasons?
Yeah, sure. So Redfall, like you said, a great point. It was kind of like, hey, Redfall didn't hit. It was supposed to. You really need to get your shit together with Starfield.
Yeah.
And remember, Phil Spencer, he went out there. He actually went on the Kind of Funny XCast, their Xbox podcast,
Yeah.
and he was talking about it. He kind of just like, hey, I fucked up. I know I fucked up. We
Hmm.
fucked up as a company. We're gonna own it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like, and he's telling people, it's like, listen, if you don't want to buy our next game, like, I don't blame you for it. I mean, if I was in your shoes, I probably wouldn't either. You guys want us to put our money where our mouth is, so we're gonna make sure that any future games, they're not going to be released until we are ready. And like Eslam said, the next big game is Starfield.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. They've pushed it back a couple times here and there over the years, and yeah, so it's like, okay, it's finally happening. It's finally coming out. But not only that, so this is game developed by first off, it's published by Bethesda, It's
Yes.
developed by Bethesda Softworks. So Bethesda is the people. Bethesda Softworks are the people who do the Elder Scrolls games, not online, but they do Skyrim, Oblivion. They do Fallout, like Fallout 3, Fallout 4.
Hmm.
So they're doing their thing. They're out there doing good games. Now Bethesda, the publishing studio, is also responsible for games like Redfall. That's a Bethesda
Hmm.
publisher, published game. So is Fallout 76. So it's
Hmm.
not made by that same developing team. And if it is, I think it was something where it was a small team that wasn't the whole team. Some mess there.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like this is the first time this team has made a game since Fallout 4. And Fallout 4 was a good game. It wasn't the biggest hit in the world, but it was a good game. So this is kind of them just being like, hey, the first time they're ever making their new IP since Elder Scrolls, which came out honestly, Eslam back in the early 2000s, maybe 90s,
Damn.
when Elder Scrolls original, like Elder Scrolls, like Champion, I think it was called, came out, or Arena, something along those lines. So this is their first IP. They've supposedly been working on CP since then. So from like let's say it's 2000 to now, so that's over 20 years. And yes, it has been over 20 years that they've been working on this new IP, this idea called Starfield.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like this game's been an idea for at least 20 years. They have to deliver, and it's officially out today. People have been playing it. Early access was out for a week,
Yeah.
and reviewers have been playing it even before then. And as of right now, I'm hearing good things.
Yeah. It's so far. Last I checked, it was
Idiot.
sitting at an 87.
Damn.
Um. So yeah, it was 88 for a while, and I
I'm
think
checking
when I
right
saw
now.
it today, it was sitting at an 87.
I didn't look at it today. That's upsetting.
Yeah. I mean, you still got a lot of points, but um,
Every point counts.
with Starfield, to like, so the game is like a space opera, and it has elements of like,
Let's back up to
I,
88.
oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Um, it has elements of like the what's that other game, the space game that nobody liked, where you like travel from planet to planet for no reason.
Oh well, it's like now. It's No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky. Thank you.
This is what No Man's Sky was supposed to be, essentially.
Yes, yes. So it has those type of elements. It has, um, oh, fuck, I am brain dead today. Sorry. It has elements like it has like shooters. Like you have your action, you have your storyline. Now I don't know exactly if it has the same qualities of Mass Effect, where you can create like you have decisions to make, or it's a linear storyline where the decisions don't matter. If it's kind of like more in the line of like a what did you call it? A Metroidvania for
So
like
yeah, I
kind of
mean it's
like the
not a
Star
Metroidvania, but yeah,
Wars Jedi,
Jedi.
you know. But yeah, so I haven't played it yet. I did see some gameplay, but I usually just skim through it to kind of see what it kind of look like. You have your spaceship. I'm sure there's a lot of things resources that you will be collecting, managing, and upgrading, and doing all this stuff. But I guess I want to know a little bit about the story. Like, what is your mission in Starfield?
So from my understanding, well, first off, it is. Have you ever played a Bethesda game? Have you played a Fallout? Have you played a Skyrim or Elder
Fallout?
Scrolls? Anything?
No, no,
No Skyrim, no Oblivion.
no.
So this is that, but in space. People have been referring to this game as No Man's Skyrim. Um,
I like
Makes
that.
perfect sense. Yeah.
I think
Um,
you have explained this to me before, where you
yeah.
have like the main storyline, but a shit ton of side missions that you can
Exactly.
also do, and like,
Yeah.
okay,
And their side missions are not just any side mission. They're like huge, like
yeah, yeah,
worthy of being a main story in any other game. Like when Bethesda Softworks makes a game, they go hard.
yeah, yeah.
Like Skyrim came out November 11th, 2011, and I think just this past year they did release another edition of that game. They
Damn.
haven't stopped. Like you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? 2023 from 2011. That's how you know. Like when they make a game, and they put their foot in it. They do the damn thing. You know,
yeah.
TCB. But they're going out there,
TCB baby.
and yeah. So from my understanding, the think of it like Mass Effect.
Mhm.
You're out there, you're working, you're mining stuff out in space,
Mhm.
and then you touch something, you have a vision. and
Oh,
Skyrim begins. I'm
nice.
Skyrim. I'm sorry. Red. What is
I
it?
was
What the
just
fuck
like,
is this?
yeah,
Starfield.
yeah,
Starfield begins.
like, I was like, yeah, I completely agree. Skyrim.
That's kind of a
Um,
mission, and that's a mission in Skyrim. That's a side mission. Shit, same shit
the
happens.
whole all of Starfield is a side mission in Skyrim.
Yeah,
You get transported real quick to outer space.
yeah, no. So it's like you do that, and then you do stuff. Now there are different things that I've seen in the game where, you could go out and be a goddamn space pirate if you want. There's actually a group of pirates. You join up with them. There's like the force, space police. I guess the Green Lanterns without the powers. Like
Hmm.
you do that, and they kind of feud with each other. There's a couple other missions. There's this one side mission, Eslam, where you're basically Space Batman. Um,
Nice.
yeah, I don't know the details, but essentially, what it comes down to is you're doing like a little stupid side mission where it's like, hey, go collect this thing or whatever, and then while you do it, you find this little note, and then you find out that there's this person who's been a superhero who's like going around these different areas and protecting people, and then they kind of disappear. And then at one point, you actually go find the lair, which is essentially the Batcave.
Okay, nice.
And then you kind of realize that it's like a title that's been passed down upon generations, and it's basically Space Batman.
Nice.
So that's out there. That's out there for you guys to find. I kind of gave you the gist. There is more to it than that,
Yeah.
but and you could do these things. Hear me out long.
Yes, you froze for a bit.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So what was the last thing you heard me say? All right. Sounds good. So you could go out there.
Yeah.
You could go ahead and be Space Batman.
Yeah.
And yeah, but like I was saying, you could go ahead and never come across that mission. You don't even know it exists. That's how big this game is. Pete Hines, the like head guy in Bethesda, said that he played the game and he said the game doesn't actually start till you beat it. And I've heard a couple other people play the game and kind of confirm that. We're like they're on their fifth playthrough now
Wow.
of this game, and it's still coming up different each time. So it's like
Damn.
there's a lot to fucking do in this game.
Yeah.
Apparently.
I was just about to ask. It's like how can the game how can you keep interest with a game so big? You know what I mean? How do you keep players keep coming back and putting hours in, um, week after week, um, and not get bored and be like, all right, I'm done with this, and kind of leave it for like a year and maybe never come back to it. Um, so now I know this is a horrendous comparison if it's like a game that never ends, or how is it, because this one doesn't really have a storyline, but
No, I
there
mean, it
there
does.
is
It's just
no.
nobody really
I'm not
knows.
talking about Starfield. I'm talking
Oh,
about the game I'm trying to compare it to. But I'm just saying this is a horrible comparison. But like Monster Hunter is never ending. It's just a constant grind. Now, obviously, this game is not that. It has a story. It has like story side missions, and but at the same time it's so big, it's like you never beat it, or you beat it and you kind of like, all right, well, I can go back and do more. It's like, at what point do you get bored and be like, all right, I'm done? And at what point are I'm sure, like you said, they keep putting out more like DLCs and stuff for the game, like they've done with Skyrim. And space is vast enough that they can do this for another 100 years. The more we find out about space, the more they can just start adding to the game. But at the same time, like, I feel like I would just like, either because new games come out and I kind of like want to spend time on that, and
hmm
maybe if I have time, but then it's like I'm never gonna have time to come back to it because there's always something new.
hmm
So I guess the question is, again, it's like, how do you keep player interest for such a long time for such a vast game? Like, you've, as a developer, you put so much into this. Like you said, this is 20 years in the making, and now people maybe play it for like a month and then they're done with it. You know what I
or
mean?
they play it for years like
Sure,
Skyrim.
I feel like you'll have your core group that will play it for years, but
Yeah.
that's not going to be the mass.
No, you're right. It's not. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like it's gonna sound weird, but you don't. unless you're making a live service game like
Hmm.
I guess Monster Hunter counts or something like Apex Predator or Fortnite, Apex Predator, Apex Legends, I meant to say, or Fortnite, where there is no story. I
Oh,
mean,
those are
there
live
might be,
service.
yeah. So it's kind of just like
So
go out
isn't
here,
that
do
what
this,
what's it called is gonna be? Suicide Kills the Justice League.
pretty much.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, go out here, just do this over and over and over again.
Mm,
Some people love that. I
yeah.
know Apex Legends is a beloved by many people. Khalil, he's been on
Yes.
the podcast a couple times. He loves that game.
No.
So it's one of those. Now, one thing that we could talk about is like Eslam, you're talking about other games you want to get onto, move to. Um, Not everybody's able to get a bunch of games, so it's
True.
one of those
True.
things where it's like you'll have like one kid who wants to ask his parents, "Hey, I really want to get video games. Maybe he can only get like 2 games a year." Maybe he convinces his parents to get him Game Pass, and with Game Pass, you have a bunch of games and Skyrim. I'm Skyrim. God damn, I want to play Skyrim so fucking bad, guys.
Yeah.
But Starfield is
Wait here
available
so you
on
can
Game Pass.
remember what we're
Thank you,
talking
appreciate it.
about.
That's what it is. Starfield. It's
Yeah.
the S. But yeah, no. So Starfield's available on Game Pass
Yeah, day
today,
one.
the
Yeah.
6th. Yeah. So that's one thing. Or if he can't get Game Pass and he can tell his parents, "Hey, I can only get one game," he's gonna be playing this game forever, and
Yeah.
there's always gonna be new content for him to play, on this game. That and they also have procedurally generated worlds and planets, just like No Man's Sky did. So you have the system itself creating
Mm.
stuff on planet. So you can find a planet nobody's ever been on or whatever. Since it's a single player game, you don't like really share your world with anybody, but
I
you'll get
was
to a planet.
about to ask that. I was like, can
Yeah,
you like
from
do
my
co-op?
understanding, this is in there. Don't quote me on that, but yeah, no, there's no co-op, at least not now. I'm sure somebody's gonna mod it so that you can.
Mm.
Bethesda games, the Bethesda is really good about having their stuff get modded, especially on PC.
Hmm.
Which is cool because like when Skyrim was doing it, they let you do mods. People came up with so many mods. I mean, the famous one is Macho Man Randy Savage Dragon, who would just go around screaming "Ooh yeah" and snap to Slim Jim while he's like murdering people. That's like one of the most
that's,
famous mods
that's
there
fucking
is.
amazing.
Yeah, it's just a dragon with Macho Man's head on it. But so it's like yeah, once they had all these different mods and stuff, they allowed them to work on console. So
Yeah.
Bethesda's like really cool with like, hey, mod the game, do what you got to do, make it more fun. Why
Yeah,
not?
why not? Yeah,
Yeah,
that's smart. It keeps player engagement.
exactly. But
Yeah.
yeah, so between all that, that does keep you on the game for a long time.
Hmm.
Um, like I said, you and I, we're privileged enough that we can get multiple games here. Not everybody can do that, but even so, it's one of those games where I want to play Mortal Kombat when it comes out. I'm loving Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Gate came out on PlayStation 5 today, same day as
Mm.
Starfield. And there's so many other games like Alan Wake 2 is going to come out. There's so many other games I want to play for the rest of this year and next year. But let's be real, it's one of those things where I could finish those games. I could pick up Spider-Man 2. I could play it. I could love it. It's
Yeah,
great.
finish it.
And
You're
what am I going to
done.
do? Oh,
Yeah.
I got nothing else to do. Let me jump
Starfield.
back into Starfield because
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
still there. There's still more content for me.
yeah,
You don't have to finish it immediately. You can keep going back to it if you want. That's what a lot of people do with Skyrim. So a lot of people never finish Skyrim. They still go back to it every once in a while.
yeah,
You know?
yeah. That makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
I hope they keep doing that because I mean, if I'm a developer who spent 20 years developing this on and off, I definitely want people to spend a lot of time enjoying the hard work I put into it. You know what I mean?
You
So
want to know something I think about?
yeah,
So a lot of their in Bethesda games, you literally pick up anything. You walk into a kitchen, you want to pick up a fork, you pick up a fork. You can grab anything. People use a funny thing is like people will grab a bunch of wheels of cheese and just keep it in their fucking house because you buy a house in Skyrim, you just have a fucking house filled. You have one room that's dedicated to wheels of cheese.
mm.
So I always wondered because they have books where you read the text. What if there's just like a random, like you'll find one note where there's like a random ass grocery list or something like that, something completely there. Think of it the developer whose job it is to do that stuff,
Yeah,
where people are not going to pick that up. Like
yeah,
they're just painstakingly, he's like, all right, I'll put down carrots and
yeah.
lettuce, like all these
That's
things,
intern work.
you
That's
know.
intern work.
But I'm just saying, it's like even so, somebody's doing that. Just
Yeah,
think
yeah.
about it, like a game this huge where you're making so many different things that like you're making so
So
much
that's
content that people are never
interesting.
going to even
That's
see.
an interesting point you say there. Someone is doing it. Now I wonder if AI is going to become developed enough where AI is going to end up doing that, doing those little background tasks or doing it in like in game while you're playing,
I mean, what's a
depending on the way
procedurally
you play.
generated world at that point?
Sure, sure. I'm sure it does have a little bit of AI into it, but I'm talking about like smarter AI, like the
Hmm.
the stuff that's coming out now, where it's somewhat smart enough where you can have like a full conversation with it, um, with limited responses, sure, but it's smarter than anything we've ever seen. But
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to playing this in the next 5 years. I mean, you know me. I still haven't even finished Spider-Man 1. I haven't been able to touch it in the past like month. So, I'm trying to get to it, and hopefully, there's a bunch of other fucking games. But
Yeah. Well,
I'm still waiting on that fucking PS5 Pro.
yeah.
They need to
Uh,
hurry the fuck up.
no, I'm good. I don't mind waiting for that. But
Nah, nah.
what's
They
it
need
called?
to end of this year. Let's go.
It's not happening.
I know.
Maybe they'll announce it. I'll give you that. But that's as far as it's going. Go get a portal. You'll be fine. Now,
Yo, fuck out of here. Well, so I can connect to yours?
you're right. Yeah, exactly. You'd have to still buy a PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
But no, you'd have to, I think, even be in the home in my house to do it.
Oh
But
wow.
I could be wrong about that. Don't quote me on that. I
No,
don't know much about the portal.
whatever.
Yeah.
It's fucking stupid.
No, actually, no, because I'm pretty sure you can
Yeah, I
connect through
think you're
Wi-Fi.
supposed to be able to use it outside. Yeah.
Yeah, but you obviously your PlayStation would still have to be on, so like nobody else could
Yes.
use your PlayStation at home
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's you using it just through a remote device.
Yeah.
But from what you have seen of Starfield, what are you trying to do out there? What are you trying to do in space? You trying to make your own ship, make a Millennium Falcon, or you're trying to go be a pirate? You're trying to start a new colony? Like honestly, like from what I've seen, it's kind of like limitless
Yeah.
options. So what are you trying to do out in space?
Um, I might be Elon Musk out here. Colonize a planet.
Hmm.
Go do some farming, some hunting, start a civilization,
Mhm.
be a god. Um, find a planet with little creatures,
Mhm.
enslave them, do my work, my
Mhm.
bidding. Um, maybe create an army. I don't know.
Mhm.
Is that possible? Would I be
I
able to
don't
do that?
know. Maybe
That
I
would be
don't know.
really cool if I can create a space army and start just fucking conquering shit. Like
That'd
that'd
be
be
awesome.
fucking awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, if you could do that, that'd actually be pretty cool. Maybe I honestly don't know. I
Add a
really don't
little
know.
RTS in there.
Not for
Um,
me. Not for me.
but with like no, I said a little, not
I don't
100%
want
like
any of it.
RT.
I don't
Yeah,
like RTS.
little
Like
R.
I'll try stuff here or there. It's just
I
not my
used to
thing.
love RTS because I used to play that game.
Yeah,
You know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
It
I
starts with a
don't know.
star. It starts with a
Yeah,
star. I think.
whatever. Um,
Starfield.
yeah, RCB. Um,
The fuck's a RCB?
I don't know, bro. What is it?
I don't
Something
know. What are
business?
you trying? Oh, take care of business.
Oh,
TCB.
TCB. There you go.
Oh man, I thought you were talking about like the red, blue, yellow wires. The red, white,
RB
yellow wires.
RBG.
Yeah,
Red, blue,
you
green.
connect to the. Can't wait for Starfield, guys. So I kind of want to go out there. My thing is I kind of just want to see where the story takes me. I've always been a big fan. Like when I play Skyrim or any Elder Scroll game like that, I always like seeing the side mission, especially the Dark Brotherhood stuff. It's usually pretty cool. So yeah, I kind of want to go out there, see what I could do. I always like end up making like many people a build that's kind of just like a stealth like bow and arrow kind of guy.
Mm,
I suck at shooters.
yeah.
My biggest issue with this game is that it is predominantly shooting, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to get over that. One thing I did want to talk about are a couple of, like the things that people don't like about the game. I do want to because we're talking about all the good things, but there are some setbacks. It's typical Bethesda stuff. Encumbrance is in the game. Fucking hate it. I don't understand
I
why
don't
it
know what
exists in
that is.
games. Okay. You're holding too much shit and you can't move, or you move very slowly.
Ah.
I
Okay.
understand you're trying to make it realistic,
Yeah.
but you also want it to be fun.
Yeah.
Don't do that. It's like it's one of those things where it's like honestly at this point just don't fucking do it. And It's also apparently this game is it's a Bethesda game, Bethesda Softworks, which means there are bugs. They don't make a game without bugs. They're known for that
Yeah.
shit. Some of them even become endearing to the point where it's like, it's Bethesda. So you kind of
Yeah.
just let it go. But one popular one, let's see if I can do it without fucking up the mic. One popular one is like, well, anytime you play a Bethesda game, you do this thing where it's like the moment you interact with someone, you go to talk to them, the screen like kind of like shifts, and then they're the main focus, and you're staring at them, and they're kind of just like, "Hello, how are you doing? I'm in space." And then there's this thing where there's this bug going on for some reason. People would like if you're there like turned around and you're talking to them, they don't like turn around. They're just like, "Hey, what's going on? How you doing over there?" So for anybody who's not watching the YouTube version of this, I'm literally just like facing the opposite direction of my camera, just looking over my shoulder, talking. It's like, "Hey, I have this really important mission I need you to take care of for me real quick. You have to go to Mars." And it's like the game
Damn.
does that, and then they'll have that
All
moment, and
these
then
NPCs are gonna need a chiropractor later.
for real. And then there's one funny one where it's like somebody walks up to you, then as he's talking, he's like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna need you to go ahead and just take care of this." And then they're just walking off screen,
Yeah,
you know.
that's
So
funny.
there's a lot of bugs like that, which is common in Bethesda games. So that's still in there apparently. But yeah, I'm sure you're gonna be seeing a lot of funny videos on YouTube about like bugs people are encountering and what's going on, or somebody like phasing into the middle of a table and not able to get out. So, but yeah, there's still a lot of stuff like that. Encumbrance is an issue. I hear people don't like the traveling system,
Hmm.
where if you want to travel from like one planet to another, you kind of have to like go into menus. There's a lot of different menus to do stuff. Alana Pierce, famous online gamer from so many different companies, also worked on Ragnarok. She did this thing where she was like, "Hey, it's you can fly from one planet to another without fast travel, but it just takes a really long time. I think she said it was like 7 hours, so
Jesus.
like real life time.
Yeah.
So that's why there's fast travel, obviously, but it's kind of just like annoying because you have to like go into one menu to go into another menu. You can't just go to a planet. You have to like kind of like do a little layover at one planet, and then you have to stop at Atlanta like everywhere else in the world, and then you go back to another planet.
Atlanta.
Yeah,
Damn.
so but yeah, so there's like a couple little things like that that are a little annoying. Maybe after a month or two, maybe a year, hear some feedback. Maybe that's some stuff they could get, get adjusted. But
Yeah.
over.
Yep. And he's
I
frozen
hope
again.
you hear me.
Yeah. There you go. Now
There
you're
it
back.
is.
Yeah.
I was ending my sentence, so I was just
Okay.
saying a lot of good things. So
Yo, that was a troll from God.
that's so messed up. Am I good right now? Am I good?
I hope so. Let's see
It's a
what
good
God
game, but
says.
there's some annoyances.
Yo, Phil Spencer
Jesus.
out here trying to fuck us up just
Don't
because
talk
you
about the
talking
bad stuff.
shit.
Don't talk about the bad stuff.
Yeah.
Oh man. Wait till I get to do wrestling. That's where it always fucks up when I do the wrestling stuff.
Oh
So let's
God.
see.
Before we get into that, let's just jump in. This is a quick 3-minute video with some gameplay, and let's end with that. Um, just watch this real quick. I mean, it is a beautiful looking
Humanity
game, though.
has
So
always hunted
the
for
graphics
knowledge in the unknown.
is definitely up there.
The wonder is not that the field of stars is so vast, but that we have measured it. We're all here because we're committed to the biggest question of all. What's out there? You're part of Constellation now.
Was that what's it
Part
called?
of our family.
I forgot the game already. Why do I even try?
I hate you, Eslam.
Why do I even try?
I hate you so much.
We do not
That looks
fully
like Omega
understand
from
all
Mass Effect
that
2
is
just
at
now.
work here.
No finer group in the stars to be
Was that
unraveling
DJ
this
Khaled?
mystery.
Yeah.
I'll follow you from here on out, Captain.
Sorry, 1 second.
You're part of
Where's that fucking giraffe? That game, Dan, with the robot animals.
Oh,
This right here.
okay, that's a good call. I think that's organic. Oh fuck, Horizon.
Yeah, there we go.
You're part of Constellation.
I thought you were saying, is that DJ Khaled? I'm like, no, it's not.
Part
Eslam.
of our family. We do not fully understand all that is at work here.
That's not DJ Khaled right there.
Where? Oh,
No,
well, it's not. That's not
No
all.
that
finer
looks like
group
DJ
in the
Khaled.
stars to be unraveled
A
this
more
mystery.
fit version of DJ Khaled, but
I'll follow you from here on out, Captain.
You see that thing where he's talking to Rick Ross about
I love
drinking
this
milk?
part.
doing what?
He and Rick Ross are arguing about what milk is the best milk to drink.
These
Oh
artifacts could be
Jesus!
everything
Yeah.
They're
we've
both
been
fat as
looking
fuck
for.
too.
Another great secret the universe is asking us to unravel.
Human settlements throughout the galaxy could be at risk.
We are not stopping. Whatever lies at the end of this road will change humanity forever. This is where we belong.
I mean, that looked great, man. I mean,
It's a great trailer.
It's very interesting looking. It's very cool. Now, here's the thing: why couldn't they just copy the fast travel from Mass Effect? Like that worked out pretty well from like planet to
I
planet,
mean, this is a
galaxy to
much bigger
galaxy.
game. There's a lot going on.
No, sure, yeah, but like you the map activates, you pick a fucking planet, you hyperspace travel to it, and you're done. Like, why is it?
I don't know. I can't give you an answer on something like
Yeah.
that. But I'm sure they have their reasons.
Yeah.
They do want to do a lot of, as you saw in that trailer, space combat. There was none of that in Mass Effect, so that's another thing that they want to have incorporated. So
Sure, but like I'm all right, I can have space combat around the planet, and then I have to get up there to hit a certain point to fast travel. Like a hub that shoots me somewhere with like hyperspace.
honestly, I would rather have it done the way it's done in the Star Wars movies. Once I have a guide. It's just like, all right, my computer system in my spaceship has had figured out a guide. I just have to like press the thing and then
Activate
I
it.
shoot. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Activate
so
it.
usually they have to clear the planet's atmosphere first, and then once they hit space,
Yeah.
they're like, all right, calculation done to the planet we want to go to, activate
I feel like
hyperspace,
that
and
would
then
be
poof.
the
Yeah,
most cool
like that
thing.
could have
But
been.
yeah, but I mean, I don't know. Like I said, we're not game developers, so maybe there's some technical reason as to why they can't do it a specific
Well, maybe
way.
because if the system is creating new planets, then you have to go that way for it to kind of load up whatever planets it created or is going to create, so you can travel.
Yeah,
Eh,
I don't know.
who
I mean,
knows?
I'm sure there's a lot that goes into it. I would love to see a
I'm sure we'll
what's
see breakdowns once in like a week or so, once
Yeah.
people start showing stuff.
I mean, no, they've been showing stuff for a minute already. That's how I know so much that because I've been
Yeah.
watching a decent amount. I would like to see a no clip documentary. Anybody who hasn't ever heard of this, I highly suggest you check them out. It's a YouTube channel called No Clip, created by Danny O'Dwyer and many other people. Where it's a documentary YouTube channel where they go to different video game developers, publishers, people in the industry, and stuff like that, and they kind of just do stories on games. Really, really cool, interesting documentaries. Like you get the history of Telltale Games,
Yeah.
the ESRB rating system, how that came to be. So it's like you find a lot of stuff. I would love to see a deep dive on Starfield, which I'm sure is something they'll do because it's a
Yeah.
big enough game and everything. But
Okay.
you know,
Well, I mean, that's it for our Starfield segment of this episode. Looking forward to playing this game eventually. I mean, it's gonna take me forever. Dan, I can't wait to hear about your exploits in Starfield.
let's see what I can do. Let's see if I can break space.
Yeah, let's see if you could break space. But let's move on.
Khalil's
to
been playing it, by the way.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I found out today. I was talking to him.
nice. So we'll have to have him on so we can have a conversation about it.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump into some wrestling.
PP dubs.
PB Dubs.
It's not like I said PP dubs. PP dubs.
TCB. Let's
Yep.
go.
All right, let's do some Power Bomb Weekly. I'm going to start sharing my screen. Hope this is hope that this works. Let's see. Gonna go back here. Gonna share my screen. Then I'm gonna click this. I wanna do this window. Click this over here and share. Eslam, share that screen so we can see what's happening. We got it.
All right.
All right. So,
Took a
Powerbomb
minute.
Weekly. Yeah, I had to make a whole song. All right. So, we do want to start off with a little bit of sad, somber news. First off, a whole lot of wrestling has happened in the last time we've done a podcast. So, want to pay our respects right at the beginning. Um, Hall of Famer, WWE Hall of Famer, just all around wrestling Hall of Famer, one of the all time greats passed away, Terry Funk. So many wrestlers that wrestle today, that have their characters today, that do the different types of styles they do today, exist because of this man. Terry Funk is a true legend. I mean, there's a bunch of people that have passed away, a bunch of wrestling people in the past, all legends in their own rights. Terry Funk, man, he came from a legendary family. His father, Dory Funk, his brother, Dory Funk Jr., legends in their own rights. But Terry just
Sounds
was,
like the Spades.
oh yeah, but yeah, Terry Funk, he man, and he was out there. He's wrestled all over the world. People like to call Mick Foley a hardcore legend. Mick Foley learned what he did from Terry.
Oh wow.
So Terry actually took Mick Foley under his wing, and he did a lot of stuff. He did a lot of death matches in Japan. He did some stuff in ECW, and he was already pretty up there in age. He can go in there. He can tell a story. He can do a great, in ring regular non-hardcore match. Like, he can do it all, or could do it all rather. Truly a pioneer. If there's ever been a pioneer in wrestling, it is Terry Funk. This man spanned I don't know how many decades of wrestling. Like, he started at a young age, and he didn't stop till he was very, very old. Till literally he could not physically do it anymore, and he was still putting on quality matches at that age. So
Yeah.
shout out to Terry Funk, a true icon, true legend, true pioneer in the wrestling industry. Sad to see that he passed away, and much respect and thoughts and prayers out to his family and friends and anybody who was a fan of his. So shout out to Terry Funk and all that he's done for the industry. So we got that. We do have another one that passed away. Now this one did hit. This one did honestly hit a little bit hard. Such a young age.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
Bray Wyatt.
this one sucked.
Damn.
Yeah, Bray Wyatt, real name Wyndham Rotunda, uh, passed away a little while ago. This was a tough one. So I forgot what I was doing. I was doing something. I was looking at my phone, looking at Twitter, and I saw Triple H had put out a tweet 14 minutes before I'd started looking,
Yeah.
announcing that he had found out from WWE Hall of Famer. I can't remember his name right now. IRS was his thing. His gimmick was he was like a
Yeah.
tax person. That was Wyndham Rotunda's father. He had notified Triple H that Wyndham, we know him as Bray Wyatt, had passed away due to a heart condition. So it was really sad, very, very much so unexpected. There were some reports that he was out due to an injury. Then there was another one saying that he was out due to illness, but he was supposed to be coming back really soon. He was out for a bit. He was supposed to do some stuff at this past WrestleMania, and he wasn't. They kind of like scratched things. And we're like, okay, he's going to show up at some point. We were just sitting around waiting. And, then this was broken down to everybody. So very sad, very reminiscent of Eddie Guerrero back in 2006 and Benoit, because this is not something that was, that was expected. So as far as the details go, honestly, if you guys want to look that up, you can. Obviously, there was like some type of heart condition. We don't really know exactly what's going on. There's been a couple different things going on. We do know that he was sick due to illnesses or whatever, and he succumbed to it. But honestly, this hit hard. So Bray Wyatt's one of, in more recent years, has definitely been one of my favorites, many people's favorites.
Mm-hmm.
He, for the longest time, was considered the new this era's Undertaker, and then he kind of like did this thing where it's like, nah, he's not even that. He's truly his own thing, where he came up with so many versions of Bray Wyatt. Like when he first showed up, he was just this dude called Husky Harris. It was just like, oh, what's he gonna do? And then he kind of didn't do much. He was part of the new NXT, dropped down to uh, FCW, which became NXT, and he came up with this idea of this. What if he's a cult leader who came out from like the swamps? This man called Bray Wyatt, who listened to this woman called Sister Abigail. Who is Sister Abigail? We don't know, but Bray Wyatt tells these crazy stories. He has these men who are over 7 feet tall that all follow him.
Damn.
Yeah, he walks out there. He called the people his fireflies. So whenever everything would go dark, everybody would pull out their cell phones, flash the lights. So that's his fireflies going out
Nice.
there, and he would have arenas full of fireflies.
That's working at concerts at the arena. That was always one of my favorite things to see.
Yeah,
Because I used to work at the stage, so I had a view of the audience, and when they all put on their flash
Yeah.
lights, it's an amazing sight to see, especially
yeah.
if you're seeing it in person. It's phenomenal.
absolutely. And Bray did that. One of my favorite moments, one of my favorite moments of his career was he was feuding with I believe it was John Cena, and he had this thing where it's like he called himself the people were the sheep, and he was their shepherd.
Yeah,
And that's what I'm saying. Like his storyline, like his stuff, he was crazy. Like he had some really cool creative stuff, and people would wear sheep masks, and that's how when you were a member of the Wyatt family, you would wear a sheep. You're one of his sheep there, and he had this whole thing where he said that he was the eater of worlds, and he had the whole world in his hands. And you know the song, he's got the whole world. So there was one time he's feuding with Cena, and Cena was always
you
just
showed us this
Yep.
the creepy video
yeah, where it's
with the
there's a
bunny
couple.
with the rabbit.
That's
or-
something else. But
Oh,
yeah, that's a
okay.
different. That's what I'm saying. Bray Wyatt's had so many moments
Yeah,
of
yeah,
different
yeah.
things. That's the White Rabbit. That's a whole
But
other one.
that whole "I'm the Eater of Worlds" is very interesting because I feel like it's a play on a quote from the Bhagavad Gita.
Mm.
"I'm the Destroyer of Worlds,"
Mhm.
from Vishnu, which is again something Oppenheimer had quoted after he invented the atom bomb, and it's been dropped. But
I wouldn't be surprised if Bray got it. He's a very like well-read individual. He did
Yeah.
a lot of research, and he you could tell he was smart.
Yeah.
But there was this one moment where it's just like everything will kind of go black, and then you would hear like a little girl singing. He's got the whole world, and then
yes, yes.
it opens up, and then you see it's a crowd. It's a choir of children.
Mm.
And John Cena's like, oh my God, he got the children. What the fuck is this? And then the arena started singing. Everything goes black. Everything turns back on. All the kids are wearing sheep masks. And then
Damn.
Bray Wyatt comes out with the Wyatt family. It's like, oh shit. Like, this is insane. Like, you have that. We all know Daniel Bryan now, Bryan Danielson with the yes chance and all that.
Hmm.
One of the biggest yes chance moments was he did this thing where something happened where he was forced to join the Wyatt family. He became one of Wyatt's, part of his cult. And when Wyatt was like, when Daniel Bryan was going to kind of get kicked out of the group, people were really starting to cheer for him. And then one day he's going up and he's fighting against Bryan, and they're going back and forth, going back against Bray Wyatt, and they're going back and forth. And they have this one moment where people are so invested, they're so loud, they're so excited, they all start chanting, "Yes, yes,
Nice.
yes." So Bray Wyatt plays a part in so many people's careers. So it's sad to see him go. Between the when he did the like the Mister Rogers esque storyline thing where he wore a red sweater, and then he had these different puppets that represented different moments of his career, and then he was like a weird, sick, twisted version of Mister Rogers where his alter ego was the Fiend, where he
Yeah.
had this like never like this non-stoppable like wrestling demon who would go out and just beat the shit out of people, and it was any idea Bray Wyatt came up with just worked. This man was a genius. He was one of the people that got let go by Vince when Vince was firing everybody, and some people were just like, "Man, Bray Wyatt doesn't need wrestling. Wrestling needs Bray."
Yeah, yeah.
And it was just like, maybe he's gonna go work in Hollywood. I remember that was a big rumor, like, because he can do that. But anyway, he passed away. Sad to see him go at such a young age. You can see there, born '87, died in 2023. Man's in his mid 30s, mid to late 30s, passing away. So it's very sad to see. So once again, thoughts and prayers out to all his family, friends, and fans. So sad to see him go. But they did pay some nice tributes to both he and Terry Funk on all wrestling promotions, WWE, AEW, all of it. So it was very nice to see. So we got that. Now let's jump into some not so sad news. AEW put on what they're calling the biggest wrestling event in the history of history. they went to Wembley Stadium and they did All In. Last time an All In show took place was when a couple of indie wrestlers by the names of the Young Bucks, Cody Rhodes, and then Kenny Omega decided they were going to put on an indie show to end all indie shows. They called it All In because they were going all in, and that show changed the world. A company came out of it called AEW, which is still changing the world to this day. So AEW is like, hey, we're going to do a show. We're going to do it in Wembley Stadium, one of the biggest arenas, one of the most monumental arenas in the world in London. And they went ahead and they sold 81,035 tickets. This is what they're saying is the biggest sell of tickets sold ever in the history of wrestling. Um, Now they're saying because they gave the specific number and they're not counting comp tickets that they gave to family and friends. They're not counting anything. These are literally just tickets sold. For years, WWE has always been saying, "Hey, we sold 100,000, 90 something thousand, 80 something thousand," but they never specified like, "Hey, these are comp tickets." And it was always kind of like an inside thing where it's just like, "Okay, if they sold, they sold." If they say they did 100, maybe they did around 80, maybe they did 70 something. So AEW is just like, we did 81,035 tickets. We did the math and we could show it. Like,
Yeah.
if you need to check it, we got
Yeah.
it for you. We legitimately sold that. So it's pretty cool that they did that.
That's what like the concerts at MetLife were selling this summer.
Yeah.
Like Taylor Swift
Yep.
and Ed Sheeran, Beyonce.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they were
One,
selling that much tickets.
one of the cool things
That
about
many.
this, yeah, one of the cool things about this is these tickets sold out before they ever announced a match.
Damn.
They were just like, we're going to be in Wembley Stadium. And everybody was just like, fuck yes.
They're
We're
like,
in.
bet we're gonna be there too.
So yeah, they put on one hell of a fucking show.
Nice.
It was great. So I'm gonna just go through some of the highlights of All In. So first off, I'm gonna start off with a nice little feel good moment. Uh, Soraya Bevis Knight, um, formerly known in WWE as Paige. Um, she won the AEW Women's World Championship. It's cool because she's British. She got to
Mhm.
do it in a arena that's not too far from her home. She got her family, who are all wrestlers, to be a part of this, and they got to share this moment in her home country, which is awesome. What makes it even better is that Saraya, back when she was in WWE, had a very bad injury, similar injury to what Edge had and forced him to retire for so many years.
Damn.
And she was told she could never wrestle again. She rehabbed crazy hard for years. She got a couple other doctors to look at stuff. She did a couple of different like surgeries and stuff like that. And they were just like, listen, you're good to do this now. If you think you could do it, she's like, fuck yes, let's go. So she is, as soon as she could, she left AEW because they weren't going to let her wrestle anymore.
Yeah.
She wanted to go to AEW. She did. And she goes out to the ring with her family, who are all very much a part of the match, which is pretty cool. And she did it. She went out there and she won the world championship in front of her family and friends and her home country. It was a really feel good moment. Really feel good moment, especially if you're somebody who thought she was never going to wrestle again. And she's very young too. Eslam. She's like, I don't even know if she's like very early 30s, if that.
Damn.
Like, and she's been wrestling for years. Like, she started wrestling when she was a little girl. She likes to make the joke that she was wrestling before she was born because her mom, the one in the red hair there,
Yeah.
apparently was wrestling before she found out that she was pregnant with Saraya.
Damn.
So she said she was taking her first bump before she was ever born.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, man. So getting to see her go out there and do this is really cool. She did it kind of like a face turn where she's part of this group where they're kind of just like heels. They're just like, hey, we're not AEW originals. We came from a better company, meaning WWE. Her and two other wrestlers, and they're like, we're taking over. We're going to show you guys how it's done. And then she kind of like turned. One of them kind of like accidentally attacked her mother. She's like, that's my fucking mom. And then her mom's like, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you. I'm a fucking wrestler. So then they kind of did their thing, and it was pretty cool. But yeah, at the end of the day, Saraya wins the championship. Great to see that. Love to see that. And she got to do the moment with her family. So that's always good to see. Now we're going to go kind of backwards a little bit. The first match of AEW All In, CM Punk versus Samoa Joe. This is a tale as old as time. That's long. This is Beauty and the Beast right here, except they're
Yeah.
both beasts. Now, CM Punk and Samoa Joe have wrestled in Ring of Honor many times over the years before they ever became household names. And they always put on bangers. And Joe always fucking beat Punk. That was just the rule. CM Punk
Yeah.
versus Joe. Joe wins. Um, they go on to have careers. They separate from each other. One goes to TNA, one goes to WWE, one retires, so the other goes to WWE. He comes back to AEW. The other one comes back to wrestling. They both meet in AEW. They wrestled one time. Punk won by a roll up. He by the skin of his teeth. He actually beat he beat Joe for the first time. They're like, okay, they're gonna do it again. All in. They go out and they have a fucking banger. CM Punk decides he's gonna fucking start doing moves from like famous WWE wrestlers because he's kind of like being the heel in this match. So
Yeah.
he's like, fuck it, I'm gonna do the Hulk Hogan leg drop. I'm gonna do the John Cena fucking you can't see me and all this
Yeah.
shit. So it's like everyone's like, boo, you suck, Punk, you're a bad guy. And Joe is just being Joe. He's just out there being fucking malicious. He's a monster. They're fighting, and at the end, CM Punk does come out on top victorious with a what's it called, the Pepsi plunge, where it's basically a pedigree from the top rope. So he does that to Joe, which is not easy because Joe's a large man.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they put on one hell of a match. Like you could tell these guys are veterans. Like they've been around, they've been doing this for a while because they fucking put on a show. I was looking at a couple different images to put up here for us, and I was like, I want something just as pure as this. Just them about to lock up for the first time at the beginning of the match. Doesn't get better than that. So Punk and Joe, one hell of a fucking match. Loved it. One of my favorite matches of the night for sure. Then I'm just gonna jump to the main event. Couldn't find a good image, and it's really upsetting. But man, Eslam, one of the most storylines I'm most invested in ever is right here. MJF, who's on the left,
Oh, right. He was
Adam Cole is
going
on the right.
off.
Like MJF, he won the world title by cheating many months ago. He used William Regal to have Regal betray Moxley to win the world championship. MJF is the perfect piece of shit heel that you love to hate. He's just like, hey, I'm champion. I'm not going to wrestle unless I fucking have to. Like, he'll have one match a month, and people are like, you fucking suck. And then he goes out there and it's like, damn, he's really fucking good at this, though. And then it's just like, you can't help but boo him because he's a piece of shit, but he has the best matches. He's in great shape, and nobody's better than him on the microphone. Then you have Adam Cole. Adam Cole is one of the most beloved wrestlers in the fucking history of wrestling.
Yeah.
He started off as a heel in Ring of Honor. He has some of the best chants. He goes boom, like disappoints at himself, and everybody loses their fucking mind. Eslam. I do it at home every time I watch this man on my TV. And so does everybody else. And then he does his thing where he says his name and you shout Bay Bay after it because that's the rule. So Adam Cole, Bay Bay.
Yeah.
So these guys had a match a little while ago on, I don't know if it was Collision or if it was Dynamite, I can't remember. And it went to a time limit draw where Adam Cole was about to pin him and win, but in wrestling tradition, it was 1-2, clock ran out of time. So it was like, fuck,
Yeah.
Cole wanted 5 more minutes. They couldn't do it. And I was like, Cole was going to do it. He was going to dethrone MJF. And then a tournament happened where they're like, hey, we're going to do a tag team tournament. People have to be teamed up together, and it's going to be random. Of course, Adam Cole and MJF are forced to become a tag team. They're like, listen, I don't like you. I don't like me. One of us is going to screw the other over. Let's just see what happens. And because storylines in wrestling are amazing, Eslam, they became friends for real. True friendship emerged. And it's amazing because they're just like every moment you think, oh, well, one's going to turn on the other. It's usually MJF is going to turn on Adam Cole, and it doesn't happen. And then they keep on going, and then they do these backstage segments where like Adam Cole's like, hey, let's play the new AEW video game, and MJF's like, well, video games are for losers and virgins who live with their moms in their basements. It's like, no, they're pretty cool, MJF. You should try it. And he's like, you never played games? Like, well, I never had anybody to play games with. It's like, don't you have
Sounds like
friends?
me.
It's like, no, I never had friends. Yeah. And they build a friendship, and it's one of those things where it's like as this is happening, MJF is starting to kind of become a babyface, but he's still a piece of shit, which is the funniest thing in the world. Like he'll say some really fucked up annoying shit. He's like, it's okay guys, I'm trying. I'm trying to be a better person. And it's amazing. He basically says, I'm a scumbag, but I'm your scumbag. That's his
Yeah.
thing. So they go out there, they almost win the tournament, they almost become AEW World Tag Team Champions. They're like, you know what, let's try it one more time. Let's try to win the Ring of Honor titles. So on the pre-show, very first match, it's MJF and Adam Cole going up against, I believe it was Aussie Open, and they win the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions. Then later that night, these two guys who just had a match who are champions have to fight each other for the world title because MJF is like, listen, you're my best friend. I want to give you a shot at the title at the biggest arena there is. They go back and forth, and so they win their tag team match together. They go out later, and they're fighting. And the whole time, everyone's like, okay, MJF's a piece of shit. This is it. He's going to do the heel turn. He's going to turn on Adam Cole finally. As they're going through the match, Adam Cole is doing dirty shit. He's hitting MJF with the thumb in the eye. He's giving him low blows. He's doing everything he can to cheat. And MJF is like, what the fuck? I'm supposed to be the bad guy. It's like, we're supposed to be cool. What happened? And they're just beating the shit out of each other. Like, it's going intense, Eslam. Like, one hell of a match. And everybody's famous favorite Eddie Guerrero spot where he would like hit a chair on the ground.
And fall.
They have one of the best Eddie Guerrero tributes I've ever seen, where it's like MJF, like at this point they're both cheating and trying to see who's going to come out on top. So he does the thing. He slams the chair. He slams the ground with the chair. He tosses it to Adam Cole. Adam Cole's like, no, I toss it to you. Obviously the referee can't see what's happening. And then MJF does the smartest thing I've ever seen. He's just like, fuck it. He opens up the chair, puts it on his head, and then lays down. So they're both laying there, and the referee turns around and is like, what is this? And Adam Cole's like, I didn't hit him. It was like, well, obviously you did. The chair's wrapped around his head.
Yeah.
And it was perfect. So they had moments like that. And then at the very end, they're going, and I think there was a draw. It was either time ran out or something happened. It was a double count out. I don't know what it was. And everyone's like, this is bullshit. And then Adam Cole says it again. Max, that's MJF's first name, give me 5 more minutes. And MJF grabs the microphone and he says, no, we're going to keep going until we get a fucking winner in Wembley Stadium. And everybody loses their fucking minds. They go out, they keep fighting. In the end, MJF wins. He retains the title. And then he's like, hey, he's trying to hug. Adam Cole's like, we did it. We're best friends. Adam Cole's like, no, fuck you. And MJF's like, I thought we were friends. Like, you were always going to turn on me. Here, take the title and hit me with it. And he turns his back. Really emotional moment. And then this other guy comes in, his friends Adam Cole's like, dude, hit him. And then he does it, and then they hug it out, and everybody's cheering. There's people, grown men are crying. It's amazing. They overcame the title, and they stayed friends, which is great. So that was All In, one of the best pay-per-views I've ever seen. And then CM Punk gets fired.
Yeah.
So to kind of go through this, so the very first match, like I said, with CM Punk versus Joe. That's the first match on the main show. On the pre-show, Jungle Boy Jack Perry was going up against Hook for the FTW Championship. There's a moment in the match where Jack Perry is doing a move to Hook on a car, and he slams him on the windshield. He smacks it. He goes into the camera and he says, "Real glass, cry me a river." Everyone's like, okay, I guess what the fuck's that mean? Whatever, we're watching wrestling. The show keeps on going. Reports start going out that there was a fight backstage again between Jungle Boy Jack Perry and CM Punk. And after the show is over, they do a media scrum like they normally do. Tony Khan's like, hey, I just want to say there was an issue backstage. We are investigating it. I'm not going to answer any questions about that. The week moves on. Now, mind you, this pay-per-view happens on Saturday. The next major show is Wednesday, Dynamite. Within all that time, a bunch of stories come out. Jack Perry went to CM Punk and was just like, hey, do we have a problem? Punk went to Jack Perry, said, hey, why the fuck do you use real glass? Apparently there was a segment a couple weeks ago where they were going to do a similar thing with a car and everything, and they were going to do it on Collision, CM Punk's quote-unquote show. And Punk kind of denied it because he has like some type of creative rights in the show or something like that was given to him. He's like, hey, we don't do that shit on Saturdays. You could do that on Wednesdays with all the other guys, meaning like the Elite and Kenny Omega and all them. On here, we do actual wrestling. And a lot of people didn't take a liking to that. So supposedly one of them started the fight with the other. Something happened where everybody kind of agrees that one put the other in a sleeper hold to kind of like diffuse the situation. Samoa Joe was one of the people who had to kind of like diffuse things. So this happened right after the Jack Perry match and right before the Punk match. So they were kind of like encountering each other right backstage before they were about to, switch matches. Another report shows that monitors were knocked over backstage, and at one point, CM Punk was so pissed he lunged at the owner of the company, Tony Khan, who's been like his biggest defender. So what happens is this happens. Punk goes out, has one hell of a banger of a match with Joe, comes back, and another rumor is that it was heard in an office that CM Punk is shouting at Tony Khan, saying over and over, I fucking quit, I'm done, whatever. Then reports show that CM Punk decided to leave the arena to not cause any more commotion. He goes to, I think it was the train station or whatever, and found out that his train was like no longer booked. He had to find his own transportation home, and it was like a whole thing. So that all happened. Everyone's like, what the fuck's happening? There was other rumors that he might have started a fight with Miro, but it turns out it wasn't real. So we're like, what's real? What's fake? What's happening? And then Saturday happens Collision. Now, one more thing I want to mention. So Saturday is Wembley Stadium. Um, no, I'm sorry. So yeah, it was Sunday was the pay per view and All In, Wembley Stadium, and then they go to Chicago, which is CM Punk's hometown, for Dynamite. Punk's not there. He and Jack Perry are suspended. Saturday, they're doing Collision,
Mm-hmm.
and Tony Khan goes out to the arena, still in Chicago, and he announces CM Punk has been fired. We thank Phil Brooks, his real name, for everything that he's done for the company. Um, it's just right now it's a work environment where a lot of people feel like they're not safe, and he was fired because of reasons or whatever, with cause they say. And upon further investigation, there was a lot of people that kind of like gave their suggestion, and in the end, Tony Khan made his final decision. He fired CM Punk. People booed him because they're in
Mm-hmm.
Chicago.
Yeah.
He also put a statement out on Twitter saying the same thing. This is in Chicago. Then Sunday they do All Out pay per view in Chicago. So they did two pay per views within 1 week, two major pay per views, All In then All Out. CM Punk's not there. He's already fired, and this was supposed to be a big CM Punk show. So they had to do a show without Punk. Now, one thing that happened when he announced that Punk was fired, they dropped 19% in views. Right there, literally, he announced it, and a bunch of people just turned off the channel like they're not watching this. Punk has had a lot of issues I've talked about on the podcast, but he has a huge fan base, and there's no denying that. Anyway, let's go into All Out. Punk is fired, and they need to move forward. And we have this match. So, Ricky Starks, the man who's
The
getting murdered.
fuck is happening? Jesus.
So there was supposed to be a match. That man, Ricky Starks, was supposed to be fighting CM Punk on this show. They had to find a replacement. So they went and got the American Dragon, the best fucking wrestler to ever live, Bryan Danielson. And they're like, hey, you're going to fight him in a strap match. And they have a banger. As you can see, Bryan Danielson tried to murder Ricky Starks. And it was one hell of a fucking match. One of the best strap matches I've ever seen. A strap match is they have just a piece of leather where it's wrapped around each wrestler's wrist, and you're allowed to use it in the match. And you can use it any way you want, such as this. Anybody who's not watching the YouTube version, I highly check it out. Suggest you check it out. Ricky Starks is hanging upside down in the turnbuckle. Bryan Danielson has the strap wrapped around Ricky Starks' neck and is just yanking on it. So pretty entertaining. And yeah, it was a pretty good match overall. They went out in the end.
Damn, that looks like Disco from this angle.
So in the end,
Is this why he's not here this week?
He's
He's recovering from this match.
But yeah, no. So yeah, Bryan Danielson ends up winning. Ricky Starks ends up passing out. Never tapped out. He passed out. And Bryan Danielson wins the match. Everybody's praising Ricky Starks because he's still fairly young, still not new. He's been doing it for a little bit, but everyone's like, this is his moment-making match. This is his career moment. Everyone's gonna remember this. So this was like a very, very good showing. And Bryan Danielson, honestly, he's proving more and more every day that he might be the greatest wrestler who ever lived. So it's like, yeah, it's like, honestly, you get him in a match, it's going to be a phenomenal match. So we got that, and they saved it. Remember, it was supposed to be Punk, so this match wasn't even built up in storyline or nothing. They were just like a day before, they're like, hey, you're fighting Bryan Danielson, and they just put on a fucking banger. So it was one hell of a match. Then we have Kenny Omega versus Konosuke Takeshita. So this picture right here I chose is a Avalanche Blue Thunder Bomb that's happening. Where Konosuke Takeshita is up. I mean, how high is Kenny Omega there? That's at least like fucking like 10 feet. And they're falling off the ring, and Kenny Omega's gonna just die. One hell of a match. This is Omega, who's called the best bout machine, considered the best by many people, and Konosuke Takeshita, who's supposed to be the guy who's taking over after Omega in that status. So they're going on there. It's kind of like a passing of the torch moment, sorta. One hell of a match. They're going out there. It's heavy hitting, and there's this one move in particular, not even this one, where it's a high angle suplex where Kenny Omega is completely upside down. And he does get slammed in this position. And it's just like, how the fuck did he walk away? Like, how does he still have a spine? You know? One hell of a match. They went back and forth. In the end, Takeshita wins. He did cheat with the help of Don Callis. It's a whole long storyline stuff. We don't need to get into it. But once again, banger of a match. Now, mind you, this is a pay-per-view a week after all the crazy matches they had in All Out. And yes, these guys did have matches that were pretty intense then. So they kind of just went out and kept going. And then last one I want to talk about here is the main event, where we had for the AEW International Championship, Jon Moxley defending against the longest reigning champion in, I believe, AEW International Championship history, Orange Cassidy, in the main event. So very happy to see Orange make the main event. He had defended the title, I think, over 30 times. The man who's lazy and doesn't like doing anything. He didn't even carry the championship. You know, wrestlers, they wear championship, whatever. He would just put it in a backpack and walk out to the ring. And he defended it 30 times, just
Oh,
banger after banger.
speaking of Orange Cassidy,
Mm.
I forgot where I was. There was this show on this this the floor is lava,
Yeah.
and Brian and Orange Cassidy and two other wrestlers were on that show.
Best friends, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a chick and another guy,
Yep.
and it was really funny
Oh,
because
yeah.
at some point he was just chilling there. Like he just sat on the wall for a minute. The other two were doing their thing. Then he kind of did something. Then he would just stop and then he ended up falling in the lava. But it was just sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. You're fine. That's Orange Cassidy to a T.
Yeah.
So he went out
And
there.
then he'd be like,
Yeah, with his little half the thumb. So one of my favorite moments is like when they were building up this match. Like I said, Orange Cassidy's been defending this title against everybody and just coming out on top. This was going to be his biggest challenge, Mox. And you know how wrestlers have their, and that's the bottom line because Stone Cold said so. Do you smell what the Rock is cooking? Like they have their catchphrases. Orange
Tagline.
Cassidy said one of the best things I've ever seen. Where it's like this was like the pay-per-view before. He's like, I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna do what I can to beat you. My name is Orange Cassidy and I don't have a catchphrase. It's just like one of the best things I ever heard. So I hope that's his catchphrase moving forward, if anything. And they go out there and they have a match. Now, I don't know if you remember Eslam, when Orange Cassidy does his little thing where when he has his hands in his pockets, he gives
Yeah.
you those like little kicks.
yeah.
He did a moment in this, and I knew they were going to do this at some point in the career, and I was waiting for it, and they pulled it off. At one point, Moxley's on the ground. Mind you, Moxley's been beating his ass. Well, no, this is later on, but anyway, Mox is on the ground, and Orange Cassidy gives him a little kick. Everyone's like, does the like they always do, and then he keeps doing it, and then he starts doing it harder and hard. He's legitimately kicking. It was like, oh shit, Orange Cassidy's really going out. He means it this time. And everybody's losing their shit because, as you know, Orange Cassidy's a really good wrestler.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's turning himself up, and everyone's like, oh shit, Orange is about to fucking go off. And he kicks the shit out of Moxley, and they're going back and forth. Orange Cassidy's busted open in this match. Moxley's getting to the point where it's like he keeps on hitting all these finishers on Orange, and Orange just will not stop. Like he won't give up. At one point, he does the laziest kick out I've ever seen in my life, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
Like instead of doing the whole put his arm out and everything, he just rolled over and his shoulder got up. And Moxley's doing like great facial expressions, like how the fuck can I not beat this guy? Like he's Orange Cassidy. Who the fuck is he? And Orange Cassidy's just proving him wrong. In the end, Mox hits him with a finisher. Then he does another one where it's just like he hits him with his I think it's the Death Rider he hit him with. He has a couple finishers. And Orange Cassidy does the thing where he gets up. And if I remember correctly, he kind of just like gave him his like middle fingers with like they were both like barely standing up or whatever. And I think he might have put his hands in his pocket, something along those lines. Mox hits him again, and then he wins. He beats Orange. And then as he's walking away, his group, the Blackpool Combat Club, they kind of go by, they pick him up, and they're like, "You did it, you did it." And Moxley, like I said, great facial expressions the whole time. He's like, "I don't know what the fuck that was. I don't know. Like, I almost couldn't beat this man.
Like, what
Like
just
Orange
happened?"
Cassidy was a demon."
Yeah.
And it was great because Orange is just laying there. He's like dead. The best friends, like the guys and the girl, they come out, they're cheering. Everybody gives this man a standing ovation, which is well deserved. And no, one hell of a match. So Mox wins the night. I mean, Mox wins the title, but Orange Cassidy wins the night. He gets to stand tall in the ring by himself, getting the standing ovation. I hope this moves him towards the world title picture soon, because he's proven that he can handle it. But great week for
I would
AEW.
love to see the laziest world title holder.
I
That
mean,
would
that's
be
like
phenomenal.
he was great with the international title. Like the man literally just have a backpack. It's just like, here, it's my championship. But no, it was great. Overall, great shows. The whole CM Punk drama happened. Hopefully, we'll see where we go from there with that. There's a lot of stuff that happened in WWE as well. They had a pay-per-view Payback. John Cena recently came back, and he's going to be with WWE for a couple months. It's not just like a one-and-done thing. Dwayne, you just come back for one show every 6 years. John Cena's out here doing the damn thing. But yeah. So that's, I mean, a lot of wrestling going on everywhere, but that's the highlights. I know it's a lot. This was a long episode of Powerbomb Weekly. I do apologize, everybody, but there was just so much that had to be talked about. But yeah, that is my wrestling news.
Nice. All right, let's jump into final thoughts and this bad boy. Man, um, Starfield, PBW, TCB, LWG, FVG, LS3.
And DTA, never forget it.
That's right.
But yeah, no. Um, glad to be back this week. We didn't get all three of us, but we will eventually. We missed last week, obviously. So apologies to everybody who's expecting the episode. Came back at you with a lot this time around. But yeah, hopefully we get all three of us next week. See what we can do. Expect to hear more about Starfield because I'm definitely gonna get hands on that.
100%. All right. I already said my piece. Thank you for listening to Los Wise Guys podcast. If you like what you hear, don't forget to follow us on social media. Like, subscribe, share, rate, and review. Um, don't forget to check out the Los Wise Guys website. Thank you for listening. Have a great week.